We're gonna make this short and sweet. You know how he is. You know who he is. You know who we be.
Yeah, already. Sulli time.
Yeah, 94 Sulli's in the Heezy. For Sheezy.
Happy Sulli Awards, everybody.
So we're gonna start off real quick. Tag Team of the Year. Mm-hmm. The nominees are Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck. Mm-hmm. The Bad Breed. Uh-huh. The Pitbulls. Uh-huh. The Public Enemy, and Sabu and Taz.
Okay.
So I started off, I said, this is a no-brainer, slam dunk. The Public Enemy have pretty much had a stranglehold on the titles and were the only top tag team the entire year. So, Public Enemy.
That one was an easy one for me as well. I also went with the Public Enemy. I mean, they are... Even in '94, they are synonymous with ECW as a tag team, and so Public Enemy. I concur.
So we got the manager / valet of the year. We have Jason, the sexiest man on earth. Paulie Dangerously, Woman, Hunter Q. Robbins III, and the Virgin Princess Angel. Who'd you go with?
This one was a tough one for me as well, only because I felt like all of the candidates were kind of lackluster and shit. Because the reason why I say that is because I was looking at the amount of champions that they managed. You know what I'm saying, especially for '94, and. It's TV title here, short reign with the world title there, or I'm sorry, the heavyweight title there. But ultimately I ended up going with Jason. Can't really say why I went with Jason. I just, I don't know. I guess he's. Even though Paul Lee does kind of manage 911, I mean not 911, but Sabu, and he manages 911 and stuff. They're not. I mean, they wrestle and they do shit, but they don't really do shit. But so by process of elimination, and Jason having a TV title, and then now he has Mystinko and Jason.
I do not concur. Actually went with Woman this year. I went with the totality of the year and how they progressed. Jason, even though he got titles, he had a reign with Pitbull. He had the title himself. He still stayed a mid-card act, whereas the evolution of Woman carrying Sandman to the main event resonated more with me. The promos that they hit together with him as a package just only made Sandman better, and I think that that makes it more profound with me. Did the manager make the performer better? And I think that Woman made Sandman better. Ergo, I think she is the manager of the year.
Okay.
So, promo / moments of the year. We have Tommy Dreamer getting 10 cane shots from August 30th, 1994. We have Mr. Hughes recounting his entire ECW history.
Oh, man.
From August 2nd.
That was awesome.
We have the infamous table spot from Hardcore Heaven. We have the Shane promo from after the three-way dance from the night the line was crossed. And Shane's promo after throwing down the NWA title at the Niggas with Attitudes title tournament.
Oh, man. Well, for me, this was easy. Because, I mean, just look at the motherfucking aftermath. A new world title comes into existence. Paul is able to get somebody he just screwed over to do a promo after he screwed him over for their product and shit. And then they go on to make a little name for themselves in the business afterwards. I'm going with Shane throwing down the belt.
I concur. It was actually a toss-up between both Shane promos. Nightline was crossed and Niggas with Attitudes. I watched them both cold. You know what I'm saying? I've always watched. I've seen them beforehand, and now watching them, you know, in consecutive order. You know what I'm saying? Which had more profound, lasting effect? The three-way promo established him as a main event credible guy, but Shane Douglas throwing down the NWA title turned him into the anti-monitor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, it's more of a chicken egg scenario. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't get him throwing down the NWA belt without him, you know what I'm saying, doing that three-way promo.
Right.
But it's like one has to lead to the other, but the other is so more profound and has so much more weight into the history of ECW. It's something I just have to go with. So I concur. Shane throwing down the NWA title. The promo is epic. It's everything in a bag of chips.
Come on, somebody.
The show of the year. You have a lot of shows that we recounted. The night the line was crossed. When worlds collide. Heat Wave. The Niggas with Attitudes title tournament. Hostile City Showdown. Hardcore Heaven. Or Funk's Revenge.
First of all, boo to Funk's Revenge. Second of all, my show of the year was When Worlds Collide. Mainly because I love the ending where Funk got his ass whooped and Arn Anderson came to us, or who knows, it might have been an elaborate plot to rid wrestling of this vile evil once and for all and shit. But nevertheless, though, it made me a happy man to see Arn do what he did at Worlds Collide, when Worlds Collide.
I had a hard time going with this. I did not concur. I thought When Worlds Collide sucked as a show. I was torn between Hardcore Heaven and The Night the Line was crossed. Hardcore Heaven, table spot. Jason beat Mikey in the storyline feud. Tommy Dreamer getting his comeuppance on the Sandman. You know, but I feel like as far as a bigger show, The Night the Line was crossed was more of a bigger show. It was the show that put ECW on the map. Now, retrospect, historically speaking, I might be a little biased there. But and I tried to take all subjectivity out of it in making this choice. But when watching the shows, I feel like now granted the matches on the show suck, but as far as the statement that they're making with the three-way, I think it's just a bigger show than all the other shows. Again, I think it's more of a cause and effect. Like, without The Night the Line was crossed, you don't get Worlds Collide, you don't get Hardcore Heaven, you don't get Heat Wave, you know, Niggas with Attitude title tournament. So I feel with this approach, I have to go backwards and go to the show that says we're here, and that's The Night the Line was crossed. Okay. Match of the year. The infamous three-way, Night the Line was crossed. Shane Douglas, Sabu versus Terry Funk. We have Terry Funk and Arn Anderson versus Sabu and Bobby Eaton from When Worlds Collide. We have the Cactus Jack versus Sabu return match. I think in November to Remember. Too Cold Scorpio versus Sabu and a Hollywood pick from June of '94. And Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck versus the Public Enemy at the November to Remember 1994.
The Cactus Jack and Mikey Whipwreck versus Public Enemy was nearly my choice just because
how good it was.
Yeah, like it was a debt for the people involved. It was damn near perfect and shit all the way around. So, but I ended up going with this with my choice purely for historical significance in that a lot of it was just said earlier about the three-way dance between Shane, Sabu, and Terry Funk and shit. I'm not. There were a lot of it I didn't like, as far as like when you have three people involved in a match, it needs to make sense why not all three people are fighting fighting at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, and you can have the cowardly person running and shit, but none of those people were coward, booked as cowardly heels or faces and shit.
Not even Terry Funk?
Well, he should be. I mean, he is sometimes. It depends on the situation, because like he'll bully JT Smith when he's weak and vulnerable, which is a very cowardly heel move and shit. But then sometimes he's tries to be a tough heel and shit. So that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I ended up going with this match just because it was a long ass match with three people, and it was the first. Probably got to be the first of that, in that era of, North American wrestling, I would have to imagine, or one of the near first. Do you think that's an accurate assessment, or?
Yeah.
So, for that and that alone, Rob Van Sabu, Shane Douglas, and Terry Funk, three-way dance.
I concur. Even though the other matches were probably more hot, quote unquote, the three-way established the promotion again, as I said in earlier. So everything built around that show was built around that match. So you have to give it to the match. As a match, I don't really like it either. It's just two. It's really like three matches. You know what I'm saying? You got the Sabu, Shane part, and you got the Funk, Shane part. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the three-way part. You know what I'm saying? They start doing the three-way spots. They do the debut of the Human Centipede.
Oh, man. It's a hell of a name there.
The Human Centipede sleeper hole. Oh.
Oh, no.
But yeah, without that match, I don't see the other matches happening subsequently. So I do concur. Match of the year, the infamous three-way. Moving on.
Nice.
Babyface of the year. We have JT Smith, the living legend Terry Funk, going for back-to-back. Mikey Whipwreck, Tommy Dreamer, 911, and rounding out Cactus Jack.
For face of the year, I was very close to going with Mikey Whipwreck. I mean, how can you not be a fan of Mikey's and shit? But I ended up going with the person who I think exemplifies the type of babyface that you can rally behind and root for and want to see succeed, and also want to make sure that they continue to eat out here. Jazzy JT Smith.
I do not concur. Tommy Dreamer, clearly the babyface of the year in '94. I would have gave the nod to Mikey Whipwreck, but I mean, in the titles, do mean stuff to me. The storyline means a lot to me. But Tommy Dreamer just I don't know. I think
You call them putts.
I do call him putts, but he's taking those ass whipping. It's like it's getting old.
You know who can take an ass whooping? JT Smith. Can Tommy Dreamer get thrown out of the crow's nest and land on one knee and then hobble for the next 2 years or the next year and shit in wrestling matches and shit? Can Tommy Dreamer do that? Can Tommy Dreamer be leaning up against a barricade and have motherfucking Mike Awesome nearly split him in half backwards from diving into him and still survive to win a match? Can Tommy Dreamer do that? Can Tommy Dreamer get up on a scaffold, fall off a scaffold, you know what I'm talking about, and still come back and wrestle? When Tommy Dreamer start doing all that, when Tommy Dreamer starts doing all that, then can say that it's close. Because to me, it's not close in the other way. But yeah, so you're Tommy Dreamer and I'm JT Smith. But I just feel like I had to let the people know out there that it's not as a blowout as Fuge thinks. Because Jazzy JT Smith has shown time and time again. He's a former TV champion, by the way.
Conversely, we have the Heel of the Year nominees.
Now this one was super tough.
Shane Douglas, The Sandman, Pitbull #1, The Deceased, Rockin' Rebel.
Yeah.
And Jason. But let's go back to Rockin' Rebel for a second.
Yeah.
So as of this recording, June 3rd, 2018, Rockin' Rebel has killed himself and killed his wife.
According to reports.
Eerily reminiscent of the Chris Benoit murder-suicide. Your thoughts, H-Dub?
I would I'm waiting for I'm looking forward to reading the more in-depth analysis and shit. When I first read the initial reports and stuff, I was shocked. And I just wondering, so from what I can tell, they do have kids, but I guess the kids weren't there or whatever, or somewhere else. Because that's somebody said, they were praying for the kids or some shit. So, but I'm just dying to know what drove him to do that. You know what I'm saying, or possessed him to do that.
I have a more important question. Does the WWE wipe all references to Rockin' Rebel off the WWE network?
Depends on how big the story gets. If it stays kind of low like it is now, then no. If it gets some traction and then and the WWE starts getting lumped in and the wrestlers' matches can be found on WWE Network. If that shit starts getting pumped in news outlets, then you'll start seeing Chad Austin in action and Glenn Osborne in singles action. Yeah. Oh shit.
What was your choice for Heel of the Year '94?
My choice for Heel of the Year. Oh man, so this was the biggest back and forth for me and shit. On one hand, you have the Sandman, who has basically, oh damn, I'm just all up on the mic, who has basically been must-see television nearly almost every week, whether it's not necessarily his matches per se, but his, whatever he got going on while he's involved in a match, or his promos and shit. And then on the other hand, you have the man who threw down the belt and shit. You have the franchise. You have the last member of Hot Stuff International, founded by the King of Philadelphia, my hero, and the founder, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Shane Douglas. And he threw down the belt. He cut that mean ass promo. The night of the pull apart and shit. With the night the line was crossed and shit. But at the end of the day, I ended up having to go with the Sandman.
I concur. And it was a tough choice for me as well. But we've been stressing this shit week by week in Extreme Retro Reviews that Sandman has been doing week to week building of his character, whereas Shane Douglas has been coming in for the big shows doing this epic shit, but then he's in a tag feud with the Bruise Brothers. It doesn't compute to me.
Yeah, well, maybe they was just trying to, kind of Hogan them, do the Hogan with him without doing the Hogan with him, you know what I'm saying, and work their way up to the big money joints.
But
or the big fights, rather.
I understand, but, I don't know. Moving on. Jobber of the Year. Keith Shearer, Kyle Shearer, Hack Myers, Donnie Allen, RJ Power. Your choice.
Of the options there, I had to go with the guy who is clearly most over of the jobbers. He's at the point where it's hard for me to consider him a jobber and shit just because how over he is. But that's Hack Myers.
I kind of concur because I went with all of them. RJ Powers was terrible.
Oh man, hey, but at least he is a Sulli Awards nominee.
Let's wrap this up real quick. Feud of the Year. Funk Sabu, Shane Funk, Hack and Goof, Jason and Mikey, Sandman Dreamer.
For Feud of the Year, I went with Sandman and Tommy Cairo, because Sandman and the whole pay your bill, Tommy Cairo, and then Cairo being a cuck and shit, and then woman getting involved and shit, and then Peaches getting titty implants and shit, and just like the whole freaking saga centered around that feud has been very, very must-see and very compelling. So, Sandman versus Tommy Cairo for Feud of the Year.
I concur. Sandman Cairo elevated Sandman to the main event. Tommy Dreamer also helped in propelling Sandman to the main event, but Cairo was a catalyst. The pay your bill shit, the tranny shit, the woman shit, all that shit put together made him over because as a babyface he was surfing, and now he's creating waves as a heel.
Come on, somebody, nice. I see what you did there.
And finally, the ECW MVP for 1994. We have the franchise Shane Douglas, the Sandman, the living legend Terry Funk, the Public Enemy, and rounding out, Mr. Hughes as my dark horse.
Oh man, and yeah, he definitely made things interesting because, oh man, if he would have hung around a little bit longer. But nevertheless, the MVP has gone to the likes of people like Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. And I think you gave a vote for some loser and shit last year. That guy. So it's kind of semi-prestigious, even though it has been kind of tarnished. But I'm going with the man who he might not smoke squallies and drink beers and pimp his wife out to his best friend or nothing like that. But the guy who probably was the only person who could be chosen to represent ECW, who could be the face, even though he's a heel, be the flair of ECW, be the wrestler who carried the gold, who carried the promotion, and who could fill the motherfucking house and who people would want to come see get beat. So your 1994 Sulli Award, a winner for me anyway, for MVP of the year, goes to the franchise, Shane Douglas.
I do not concur. As with the heel of the year, I just had to go with Sandman. I don't think anybody shown me more week to week than the Sandman. He carried the shows more often than not. Not necessarily the big shows, the big supercars or whatnot, but that week to week hardcore TV, even though we was watching clip show, skip shows, you know what I'm saying? Sandman would come through with a 10-second promo or a quick promo with Woman, or he'd beat up Tommy Cairo, you know what I'm saying? And that would be entertaining enough for me. Shane Douglas, you wouldn't see him for a couple weeks, then you'll see him at a big show, and you'll see him subsequently giving a promo talking about Dic Flair. Bruh, again, I'm over it. Sandman, 94 MVP.
Fair enough.
On that note, 1994 comes to a close, and we head off into ECW 1995. Debut of Raven.
Oh, shit.
The Shooter and the Crippler form the triple threat with the franchise Shane Douglas.
Oh, Shane, get rid of the scooter. Get rid of the scooter.
Eddie Guerrero debuts. Al Snow debuts. And the Giant Paul Loria debuts.
The 95 sound lit.
So how'd you like 94 ECW?
94 wasn't too shabby overall. It was overall, I would say it was a good experience.
Because 95 is when this shit takes off.
I've been looking forward to this 1995 year.
Next week, January 3rd, 1995. Until then, life is a work. Make sure you get paid for it. And follow us as we try to go for a victory in FortNite, Broad Street Cyberbully style.
As we proceed,
Life is a work. Make sure you get paid for it. We out. Peace.
Not five motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers. As we